There we go. They've been added to my list. Great Horde would be kind of cool. Castile. Own and convert to Christianity 5 areas in the Maghreb region. So they don't need to own the whole thing, because the Maghreb region is actually kind of huge. But they need to own and convert 5 areas. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would do it. Own and convert. And I think all of their ideas are purple, so all of them can be lost if any of those are no longer true anymore. Mexican Thunderdome, yeah, there is going to be one. There are quite a few powers that want large colonial powers, and a lot of people are just going to want to take Mexico to stop Castile getting the gold. Alright, next up we have got Cologne. Cologne over here in Germany. So Cologne's one of the ones that just went through a major overhaul because obviously the HRE was lost. So Cologne wants to form a Germanic tag, so I believe that they can do Westphalia. If we just switch over to them real quick and take a look at the decisions. Form Westphalia. So if they manage to form Westphalia, that counts as complete, or if they manage to reach 300 development. This is a permanent goal, so once they've done it once, then it's done. So they still need to get another 250 development for that. They need to get Jerusalem. No, Jerusalem must be Catholic. They don't need to own it. They just need Jerusalem to be Catholic. So that's a big incentive for them to join any crusades that might possibly be called against Jerusalem. They need to ensure that Catholicism has more total provinces than Protestant and Reformed combined. This can be completed in 1550. So again, this is like the new League War. So opposite to Sweden, who wants Protestant and Reformed to outnumber Catholics, Cologne is on the Catholic side. So they want the Catholics to be the more numerous. They want to ensure that no non-Germanic primary culture great powers own provinces, with the exception of Bohemia, in the North and South German regions. So in this dark green and orange province, no non-Germanic primary culture, with the exception of Bohemia, great powers here. So Austria is allowed, Brandenburg's allowed, Bohemia is allowed, France is not allowed, the Netherlands is not allowed, Denmark is not allowed. Which has actually worked a lot better than I kind of expected it would, because we're really seeing the Germanic powers banding together to stop that. So I really like that being a thing. And then finally become a great power. So if Cologne at any point in the game manages to become a great power, then they get a goal and it's a permanent. Hilariously, Cologne is likely to fall to the Protestantism first. I know there's a heavy chance of it, but Cologne was historically one of the more Catholic states. Like Saxony was more Protestant. Helsin's the Ottomans, yeah. I purposefully asked Helsin to be the Ottomans because he wanted to be someone a lot smaller. But I said, I want the Ottomans to be as scary as they were historically. And I want you to put fear into the other European players. And I think he's going to do a fantastic job at that. So I'm really hoping to see this massive clash of empires between the Christian Europe and then the Ottomans coming in. So it should be a really interesting dynamic there as well. And the Ottomans have a lot of goals, which are basically aggressive.
Hello.
Hello.
It's Denmark here.
Denmark.
You care to talk?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah, so basically I was thinking about talking a bit like all the stuff that happened last session before that, and well, more stuff has happened now with me releasing Sweden.
Yes. How did you feel when we got a Sweden player?
Anxious and a bit irritated, because at first I was like, alright, everything is done, I'm ready, and oh, we got a Sweden player. Now I have to deal with this. Alright. And then I was thinking, because it was the Scottish player, I was thinking, is he after revenge? And thankfully we managed to come to an understanding, and he understands what the things I did, why I did it, and he's not after revenge, and we have managed to create a form of friendship and alliance.
That's good. Yeah, I was a little bit concerned as well when I put him in there, but I really wanted a Sweden player because we absolutely need somebody to counter Muscovy, and Sweden has a lot of anti-Muscovy goals. So I think on that end he's actually going to really help you because he'll keep Russia away. Yeah,
exactly, which was why I was kinda even more so after I saw the goals, like, hey, this could actually be a good idea. If I have a Sweden either in Union or as a released nation, he can go full ham at Muscovy and I don't have to care. I can focus on my colonies that I was planning on from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons I didn't want to give Norway away, because although Norway is really, really fun nation to play, like losing 2/3 of your Kalmar Union straight away would have been very unfair. So like, I'm not going to give Norway away. So yes, you can definitely focus on the colonial side, which is good because I want there to be a lot of colonial conflict. You're going to be up against England, France, Aragon, Castile, Portugal, Naples, Genoa. There's a lot of colonial powers.
Oh yes, but thankfully I have a good relationship with Jamie and Calico, and so I hopefully won't be in too much conflict with those two.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know about the rest. That could end in very bad ways.
Yes, I'm definitely expecting some conflict between you and Germany. I mean, that's already started with your having taken out Hamburg.
Yes, but that's the thing. I was trying during the war and between the sessions, just see if I could make some kind of peace deal. But Blue Kiwi there, he told me he could not lose Hamburg, as he felt if he did that, he would lose the game, no matter what I offered him. So, I mean, that's fair enough. And all his goals are kind of oriented around Lübeck and stuff.
Yeah, his goals were basically to become the Hanseatic League. So one of the major Baltic trading powers you've basically taken out with that as well. So
yes.
I could see why you went after Hamburg. That was kind of not really intended, but it was going to happen.
Yeah, it was kind of inevitable, and better to do it early than late.
Yeah, because once he starts getting his trade cities and getting massive trade leagues, it's going to be a lot more difficult to take down.
Absolutely. And as I kind of told other H3 members, I don't think they're too happy with me because I'm because of that war, and I'm not sure, but I might have been responsible for Trier losing its vassal. I don't think so. I was only asking for money, but yeah, they kind of went like, Denmark, what have you done? So
they lost a vassal. I'd missed that.
Yeah, he had some vassal and somehow he lost it. I don't know how.
I don't know either, unless it was France that did it. Did you piece him out or did France?
I pieced him out. I don't think... No, France didn't do any piece out.
I don't know then.
Yeah. So a bit weird.
So one of the things that you might want to be aware of is check Cologne and Trier's goals, because one of them is to keep any non-Germanic powers out of Germany.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. I'm very pleased with that goal, but that's probably going to cause you problems.
Oh, yes. And as I kind of told them, I only want the trade centers in Lübeck. I don't care anything about anything else in HRE. I'm gonna go colonial after this.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, I also don't think they like me having a cordial relationship with that guy, because what he did. I mean, I'm mostly neutral because it's like, oh, if there's a Prussia here and he doesn't attack me, hey, then my southern border is...
Yeah, he doesn't have the same goal as Cologne and Trier. He doesn't really care if there's any non-Germans in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. So I think me and Brandenburg, we might not be friends or allies, but we're not going to be adversaries either.
Mm-hmm. He's actually been surprisingly quiet this session. Like, after shaking everything up last time, he's kind of keeping a very low profile for some strange reason.
I'd imagine he just wants to try and keep his head down, regroup and consolidate what he can.
Yeah, true. And in fact, it might also be partially because Bohemia's not here, Austria's not here, Saxony and Trier are, but yeah, two of the large Germanics aren't here. Yeah,
and the only really place he could expand is Saxony, and I don't think he wants to anger the HRE. As I understand it, he wants to create some kind of Germanic federation just to try to keep France and possibly the Ottomans at bay, so they don't, well, gobble up everything.
I mean, this is one of the really interesting things. It's like, even though we've lost the HRE, I've still got a couple of goals which kind of, well, not really enforce, but encourage a German unity. Not necessarily unification, but unity, certainly.
Yeah. And he seems to be going for that as well, but after actually solving the actual HRE, he's kind of burned too many bridges, I think.
Quite possibly. I know that he has angered quite a few players in that area. It was very underhanded. It was a brilliant move. Like, I have to hand it to him, but wow, super underhanded. But then that's the kind of thing I expect from that guy. Like, he's going to be a very interesting Prussia just because he's going to keep this pot stirring. And a pot stirring Prussia is scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is also why I'm kind of happy I'm having a cordial relationship with him, because it means we're kind of both agreed. Like, yeah, I control Lubeck, and if he stills around when trade starts to become important, he could give me trade power for subsidies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think your node's really going to come into its own when the Americas get discovered. And also, actually, when you just take more control over the Baltic, you can feed trade in from Novgorod and Baltic. So if Sweden's successful and manages to push Russia out of the Novgorod node, you guys could make some serious bank from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was also one of the things I was, with this whole coalition, I was thinking, how the heck am I going to do this? I kind of screwed up with my aggressive expansion impact there. And then I was looking for what I could give, and I was like, oh, I could release Sweden, which is what I have agreed to do to him if he was, loyal to me and helped me out.
I was about to ask, how did you piece that one out so easily? Because I was a little concerned, I must admit.
Yeah, I was sitting there, was thinking, alright, let's try and regroup my manpower and try to win this. And then I looked at how can I get peace, and release Sweden gave 100%, and they took. And seeing how that was, again, Sweden helped me in the war against HRE, so for the smaller HRE members, and he held his end of the bargain, so I was just planning on releasing him anyway, so kind of just struck two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching what Sweden does now with interest. Because I've been seeing where his army is, I've been seeing that he's now building certain things. Yeah, Northern Europe suddenly got a lot more interesting, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I hope that he's going to be able to stand against Muscovy, because I have nothing against the Dark Fighter, but having him right at my neck, it would not be fun.
No. I mean, again, that's one of the reasons I really wanted to Sweden, because even though Poland is going to be quite aggro against Russia, he can still spread eastwards, and like players that are at the edge of the play zone are extremely dangerous because they can expand out of the play zone and they're very difficult to counter. That's why we needed a Sweden so badly. I mean, Ethiopia is kind of in a similar situation, except Ethiopia is massively isolated because they're the only Coptic nation.
Oh yes, but I was also thinking about the first session. I hope you enjoyed my heads up there.
I did. That first session was, it was good.
Yeah, and the worst part, I saw your stream later on, and how you discussed like why I'm not with Scotland and why I'm not Scotland and France together, and well, you can kind of blame it on Burgundy and Castile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you read much of the multiplayer shot in this?
I've tried to, but you guys talk a lot.
Yeah, fair enough. Basically, in a short version, I was trying to get Scotland, France, and Burgundy join me against England, because I looked at our goals and was like, oh, they are all in the same area. We all have interest to remove England, but they don't overlap. Like, France want London, but I don't have just the neighboring areas. Mm-hmm. And Scotland would want like a free, take over Ireland and stuff without England interfering. But then Scotland and Burgundy joined Castile in a coalition, and France got scared, told England, and they made basically a trade that England gave everything in France in return from forming an alliance.
Uh-huh.
Which kind of meant when I heard all about this, I was like, what have you done? And I knew that the same coalition, it was Castile, Burgundy, Austria, and Hungary, was first aiming for the Ottomans. And the Ottomans knew this. So an Ottoman-France alliance, it was like, that's only just nationally gonna happen now that you have antagonized the French player. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there like looking, England, France, possibly the Ottomans against us. Yeah, I don't feel like this. I'm gonna stay out of this war. Got invited to a chat by Burgundy where Castile talks about basically destroying France, destroying England, destroying the Ottomans, destroying the Mamelukes. And then he talks about someone has to get to Denmark and Venice and flip them over, and like he said, like in a phrase where, as he put it, it was diplomatic to turn us to his side, but based on everything else he had said, like everyone else there, and then that part came, I don't buy it. I think they were trying to destroy me and Venice later on.
Quite possibly. I mean, Castile definitely has some competitive reasons to take Venice out. Less so with you, but then Burgundy has reasons to get rid of Denmark, as does England.
Yeah. So when I read that in the Discord chat, was like, all right, so from neutral to ally to France. All right. And then they also talked about eating up the Dutch player, so knocked on his door, knocked on Venice. We basically, me and Kalle could just talk to everyone and like, hey, there's this coalition that wants to remove everyone. How about we make an anti-coalition against them?
I'm a little bit worried for Holland, actually. He's extremely isolated, and England is really gunning for the Low Countries at the moment. Castile's going to be interested in the Low Countries. Like, he needs to make some more friends quickly.
Yeah, I think he and England is trying to make some kind of trade deal or something, like Holland keeping the lowlands but giving trade power to England in return for ducats or something. But that's only a rumor. I don't know if they've actually agreed upon anything.
At the moment, they're not doing that. And I've noticed that England's gone after Brabant, though it doesn't actually look like he's taken any territory from them. No, he hasn't. Oh, he just got them to transfer trade power. So yeah, England is gobbling up all the trade in the Low Countries at the moment.
Yep.
How much money is he making? Ooh, quite a lot. Okay.
Well, he's going to get rich very quick.
Yeah, England's going to be really strong. England's played this very well. I'm very pleased with how England's done, actually. They're going to be an excellent meddler in future affairs in Europe, I suspect.
Yeah. And I mean, there were a bunch of... I mean, like that Discord chat, we were free in the anti-coalition thingy with France. And we were free of us just leaking every battle plan and strategy they were making.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that thing didn't really have a chance.
Fair enough. Yeah, I find it interesting that it's Castile that's been the real warmonger. I hadn't caught on to that, but now I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And yeah, so it's been interesting. And I mean, I just hate it so much. Okay, if they don't want a strong France, fair enough. But why not make use the old alliance between Scotland and France with me and Burgundy and gobble up England, and then later on attack France when his manpower is down, when he is exhausted from a previous war.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they made France, England, and Ottomans ally each other's. Like, no, that's too scary.
Yeah, that is a very, very scary alliance. It's going to be interesting to see if it lasts. I mean, that's the great thing about these type of diplomatic agreements, especially with the goals. Like, you have so many overlapping goals. Those alliances may not last. I mean, there's a couple which probably will, but there's quite a few which definitely won't.
Yeah. Personally, I think the England-France alliance is going to hold simply because it's too good for them to pass it up with the English Navy and the French military.
Yeah, but you have to consider that two of France's goals are directly opposed to England. One, own London. The second one, reduce England's navy to zero.
True, but he can win without doing that. Reducing it to zero, his navy, he basically had to destroy England completely.
Not necessarily, it's only the heavy ships, and they take 3 years to build a new one.
I suppose. But, I mean, instead of London, he can go for Castile, and Castile has been open about trying to remove France, so seems like a better deal to France.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, I should probably let you get back in, because a couple of things that happened I just need to start talking about.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the chat. See ya.
Thank you very much for the update, I appreciate that. Okay, so that was Denmark, giving us a bit of an insight into what was going on and why, which is really interesting. I'd gotten a little bit of an idea about the diplomacy going on between Denmark and the anti-French coalition, and I knew that there was a bit of talk of backstabbing going on, which they'd made public post, but I didn't realise it was quite so deep-seated. And just the alliance strength between England and France, I think, is fascinating, because France has a lot of reasons to see England's downfall, and England's aware of this. These are all public goals. That's why I think the idea of having these public goals is so interesting. I mean, the secret ones add another dimension to it all, because you don't really know what their true objectives are. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. But Castile stirring the hornet's nest. Yeah, Castile being the warmonger. I didn't really expect that. I thought it was some other players, but apparently not. Redstorm, you're asking about how can you join this game. If you go to the Discord, send me a private message with which nation you want to play as. That would be the easiest way. Be sure to take a look at the list of available nations. There's, if you go to goal, like that, you can go to the spreadsheet where they are all listed and basically just pick one of the 4, which is currently written. I'll just move that down.